Ethan Cole had never liked silence. Silence meant danger, and right now the jungle around him was too quiet. The crash had destroyed his shuttle. Metal scraps still smoked behind him. The emergency beacon flickered weakly, but Ethan knew it was useless. He was stranded. The planet was green, wet, and full of strange noises he didn't recognize. But right now it was the silence that scared him most. He held his plasma pistol tight and looked around. Giant trees rose like towers, their roots thicker than his legs. The air shimmered faintly, almost alive. He could feel it hum against his skin. Every sound echoed. Every leaf seemed to breathe. He swallowed hard and tried to keep his humor alive. Day 1, he muttered. Ship's gone. Food's gone. Dignity, gone. But hey, at least I still look good. Then something moved behind the trees. Ethan froze. It wasn't a beast. It wasn't human. It was graceful. A figure stepped out of the mist. Tall, slim, and glowing faintly blue. Her skin shimmered like moonlight. Her hair flowed like silver liquid. Her eyes, large, bright, golden, watched him with quiet curiosity. She looked almost human. Almost. Ethan blinked, lowering his pistol slightly. Hello? He said carefully. So you wouldn't happen to speak English, would you? The alien girl tilted her head, no answer. She looked calm, not afraid, almost amused. He decided to try something stupid. Look, I don't mean trouble, he said, raising his hands. You're the most beautiful thing I've seen on this planet. And I've seen the trees. For a second, she didn't move. Then, to his shock, she smiled. It was a small, knowing smile that made his heart skip. Okay, he whispered, smiling back. Maybe we're getting somewhere. She took a slow step forward. Ethan felt his pulse quicken. He didn't know if he should run, bow, or keep talking. He went with talking. You've got amazing eyes, he said nervously. Don't hit me for saying that. The alien girl blinked, and in one smooth motion she vanished. Ethan didn't even see her move. A second later, a blast of air hit him, and he was flying backward, crashing into the dirt. His weapon flew from his hand, landing meters away. Pain burned in his ribs. He groaned and rolled over, gasping. Okay, he coughed. She did hit me. When he looked up, she was standing over him. Not angry, not shouting, just watching him like he was something strange she couldn't quite understand. Her expression was unreadable. All right, Ethan said slowly, raising a hand in surrender. I'll stop flirting. Bad move, I get it. She crouched near him, studying his face. Her golden eyes glowed brighter. Ethan felt something strange, like a wave of warmth and static touching his mind. He could hear a faint whisper, like a voice speaking inside his head. Human, the voice said, soft and clear. His eyes widened. You can talk? Talk, she repeated. Her mouth moved, but the words seemed to echo inside his head instead of through the air. Why, are you here? Ethan took a deep breath. Crash landing. My ship's toast. I didn't mean to intrude. The alien girl blinked again, tilting her head. Intrude, she said slowly, testing the word. Then her eyes narrowed. This is sacred ground, he groaned internally. Of course it is, he muttered. I always crash where I shouldn't. She stood tall and proud, her silver hair rippling in the strange wind. You should not be here. I'd love to leave, Ethan said, sitting up carefully. But unless you've got a spaceship hidden behind those trees, I'm stuck. For a moment, she said nothing. Then she looked at the broken shuttle smoking behind him. Her expression softened slightly, just slightly. You hurt? She asked. He smiled, wincing. Only my pride. The alien didn't react to the joke, but she stepped closer. Her hand glowed faintly blue as she reached toward his arm. Ethan tensed but didn't pull away. The warmth spread from her touch, a healing warmth that numbed the pain. His bruises faded before his eyes. He stared. That's incredible. She looked at him again, expression unreadable. You are reckless, she said finally. And foolish. Yeah, he said with a grin. But charming, right? Her eyes flashed gold. No? Ethan laughed weakly. Had to try. The alien girl straightened. If you wish to live, you must follow. Do not speak. Do not touch. Then she turned and walked into the glowing forest. Ethan sat there for a moment, catching his breath. The air around him buzzed with strange energy, and his heart raced with something between fear and fascination. He had met his first alien, and she had punched him harder than a shuttle engine. He stood slowly, brushing off dirt. All right, mystery lady, he whispered. Let's see where this goes. and with that he followed her into the jungle, unaware that this single meeting would change not only his fate, but the fate of her entire world. Ethan followed the alien girl through the jungle, careful to stay a few steps behind. The forest seemed alive, glowing vines, whispering leaves, and mist that shimmered like liquid silver. Every time he stepped on a branch, it made a sound far too loud in the quiet. The girl moved silently, her feet barely touching the ground. Ethan tried to copy her, but his boots sank into the wet soil. He almost tripped over a root and muttered, "Smooth, Cole. Real smooth." The alien didn't turn, but her voice brushed his thoughts again. "Do not fall," she said simply. He blinked. "You can read my thoughts?" "No," she replied, her tone calm but firm. "You think too loud," Ethan sighed. "Story of my life." They walked for what felt like hours until the forest began to glow brighter. Bioluminescent trees surrounded a wide clearing. In the middle stood a massive stone arch covered in glowing symbols. The air hummed with power, and Ethan felt tiny sparks tickle his skin. "What is this place?" he whispered. The alien stopped. "The path of memory," she said softly. "Our ancestors' voices rest here." Ethan frowned. "Voices? Like ghosts?" She glanced at him, her golden eyes narrowing slightly. "We call them echoes. They remember all who walk this world." Before he could ask more, she raised a hand, a warning. 3 tall figures stepped out of the mist. They looked like her, but older, stronger. Their skin was darker blue, and they wore armor that shimmered like glass. Each held a long spear that pulsed with faint light. Ethan's instincts screamed danger. One of them spoke in a deep voice, words that Ethan didn't understand. The alien girl replied quickly in the same strange language, her tone calm but firm. The others didn't seem pleased. The leader stepped closer, pointing his spear at Ethan's chest. "What's he saying?" Ethan whispered. The girl turned her head slightly. "He says you are an intruder. That you must die," Ethan froze. "And you, I say." "No." The air grew tense. The warriors exchanged sharp looks. Ethan's hand twitched toward his pistol, but the girl lifted her hand slightly, a silent command to stop. "You will not fight," she told him without looking back. "You will trust. Trust the people who want to spear me?" Ethan muttered. "Sure, why not?" The leader barked something harsh. The girl replied again, louder this time. Sparks of light began to swirl around her, as if reacting to her voice. The warriors lowered their weapons slightly, unsure. Finally, the leader lowered his spear. He gave Ethan one last glare and walked away with the others, disappearing into the mist. Ethan exhaled slowly. "That was close." "They will report to the council," she said, still calm. "They will decide your fate." "Oh, good," Ethan said dryly. "Nothing like a group of strangers deciding if I get to keep breathing." For the first time, she almost smiled. "You speak too much." "Yeah," he said with a smirk. "But admit it, and it's part of my charm." She ignored that and started walking again. Ethan followed, glancing around. Everything felt ancient. The air, the stones, even the silence. Finally, he asked, "You got a name? Or should I keep calling you Mystery Punch Lady?" Her golden eyes glowed faintly. "My name is Lyraya." "Lyraya," he repeated. "Pretty. And fitting. For someone who can send me flying." She looked at him, almost curious. "You joke even when afraid." "Yeah," he said softly. "It's what humans do when we don't know what else to do." Lyraya turned away, leading him to a small stream. The water glowed faintly blue like stars trapped in liquid. She knelt and filled a small crystal bowl, then handed it to him. "Drink," she said. Ethan hesitated. "Is it safe?" Her golden eyes narrowed. "Would I save you just to poison you?" "Fair point," he said, sipping. The water was cool, sweet, and strangely calming. His muscles relaxed. The world felt lighter. "Thank you," he said quietly. Lyraya stood, gazing into the trees. "You are different, Ethan of Earth," he blinked. "You know my name?" "I heard it in your mind." "It is loud," she said with a faint smirk. He chuckled. "So, what happens now?" She turned to face him, her expression serious again. "Now you come to our city. You will stand before the Council of Aeltor. They will see if you are truth or threat." Ethan frowned. "And if they decide I'm a threat, then they will erase you." He stared at her, half expecting a joke. There wasn't one. "Erase? Like, kill me?" "Oh, no," she said. "Worse. You will vanish and as if you never existed." Ethan's throat went dry. "Right, no pressure." Lyraya started walking again. Do not fear, she said softly. I brought you here. I will speak for you. Ethan followed her through the glowing mist. His heart pounded, but he couldn't help watching her, the way the light curved around her, the strange strength in her steps. He didn't know if she was his savior or his executioner, but deep down he trusted her, more than he trusted his own luck. As they disappeared deeper into the forest, Ethan whispered to himself, Okay, Lyria. Let's meet your council. Far above, hidden in the mist, glowing eyes watched them, silent, ancient, and waiting. The glowing forest gave way to something Ethan had never seen before. At first, it looked like mountains of glass rising from the earth, smooth, curved, and shining with pale blue light. But as he walked closer, he realized they were buildings, entire towers carved from crystal, humming with energy. Lyria led him across a wide bridge of silver stone, suspended above a deep abyss that shimmered with living light. Ethan couldn't help but whisper, It's beautiful. Lyria glanced back. It is home, she said softly. Do not speak too much inside. The council listens to all things, even silence, he frowned. They sound like fun, she ignored the comment. As they entered the city, aliens of her kind watched from the shadows, tall, elegant, glowing faintly like stars wrapped in human form. Their eyes followed Ethan with quiet suspicion. Some whispered in low tones, their voices like wind through glass. Guess humans aren't exactly welcome tourists here, Ethan muttered. No human has ever walked this place, Lyria said. You are... First? Great, Ethan sighed. No pressure at all. They arrived at a massive hall shaped like an open flower made of light. The air shimmered with floating symbols that pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. In the center, a circular platform glowed, the council chamber. 7 figures stood upon it, each more radiant than Lyria. Their robes flowed like liquid silver, and their eyes burned with colors beyond gold, some blue, some violet, some white hot. Ethan felt small, so small he wanted to sink into the floor. Step forward, human, one of them said, their voice echoing inside his mind. It wasn't just sound, it was presence. Ethan did, trying to hide his nerves. My name is Ethan Cole, he said. Engineer, crash survivor, and honest guest? A deep hum filled the air. The council members' eyes flickered with light. One of them, a woman whose aura shimmered violet, spoke coldly. No human has entered Eltor since the Burning War. Why have you come? Ethan blinked. Burning? What? I didn't come here on purpose. My ship lies? Another voice interrupted, sharp and metallic. Humans always come with lies. Ethan took a step back, but Lyria moved beside him, her tone firm. He speaks truth. I found him alone, unarmed, near the crash. He could have harmed me, but did not, the council murmured softly, like the wind. The eldest of them, an old man with glowing white eyes, leaned forward. You defend this outsider, child of the Silver Flame. I do, she said without hesitation. He means no harm. The old man's voice softened slightly. Your mother once said the same. Before the war took her, Lyria's face twitched just for a moment. Ethan saw the flicker of pain there, though she hid it quickly. He frowned. Look, I don't know what happened in your war, but I'm not your enemy. I'm just trying to survive. The council turned toward him. You wear the shape of the ones who brought fire and ruin, one said coldly. Why should we trust you? Ethan hesitated, then said honestly, because I saved no one. I killed no one. I'm just a man who fixes things, and right now I just need help. The chamber fell silent. Then softly Lyria spoke. He is not like the others. He feels different. Different, one elder asked. Or dangerous? Ethan sighed. I guess that depends on who throws the first punch. That earned him several frowns, and one faint smirk from Lyria. The eldest counselor raised a glowing hand. Enough. The human will stay under the guard's watch until we decide. His mind will be read, his heart will be tested. Wait, tested how? Ethan asked. By the echoes, the elder replied. If your soul carries darkness, the echoes will reveal it. Lyria stepped forward. If he passes, he will be free. If he passes, the elder said, he will be known. 2 guards approached, their armor gleaming like stars. They gestured for Ethan to follow. Lyria met his eyes, her expression unreadable. Don't worry, Ethan whispered. I'll pass your magic test, probably. She didn't smile this time. The echoes do not lie, she said softly. even to themselves. As the guards led him out, he glanced back and saw the council fade into mist like ghosts of light. The walk to the testing chamber was long and silent. Ethan's footsteps echoed off the crystal floor. He tried to stay calm, but his thoughts raced. Mind reading? Echoes? Darkness? He had no idea what that meant. The guards stopped before a huge door made of living vines and light. One of them placed a hand on the door, and it slowly opened, revealing a round room filled with floating orbs of energy. Each orb whispered faint voices, like memories trapped in light. Ethan stepped inside, and the door closed behind him. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the orbs began to move, circling him slowly. A faint voice echoed in his head. "Show us who you are, child of the lost sun." Ethan felt his mind pull apart. Images flashed. His childhood, his friends, his time as a mechanic on the space station, the moment his ship crashed. Then, another image appeared, something he didn't remember. A burning city, alien soldiers, and a human flag. His stomach turned cold. "No," he gasped. "That's not me." "That's not—" "All memories leave shadows," the echo whispered. "Even those you never lived." Outside the chamber, Lyria waited silently. The guards stood like statues beside her. When the lights inside the room turned red for a brief second, one guard looked uneasy. Lyria's eyes narrowed. "He is not evil," she whispered. But in her heart, a small voice asked the question she feared most. What if he is the one the prophecies warned us about? Ethan's scream echoed through the crystal chamber. The light burned around him, red, white, then black. It wasn't pain from his body. It was pain from his soul. The echoes were inside him, pulling apart every memory, every fear, every guilt he had ever buried. He saw his ship exploding again. He saw the dead faces of his old crew. And then he saw her. A woman with the same golden eyes as Lyria, but burning with anger. She stood before flames and ruins, her voice like thunder. "You brought war to our world," she shouted. "Humans will never stop," Ethan gasped. "I didn't, that wasn't me." But the vision didn't care. It pushed deeper, showing him a battlefield covered in fire and glass. He saw soldiers, human soldiers, wearing armor stamped with the Earth insignia. They fired at alien warriors who looked like Lyria. The sky itself bled light. "Do you see?" the voice of the echo whispered. "Your kind burned our stars." Ethan fell to his knees. "That wasn't me. I wasn't even born." "Yet your blood remembers," the voice replied. "The past hides in the soul of every child." The light around him pulsed faster. The air grew heavy, crushing him. Ethan's chest tightened. He couldn't breathe. But deep inside, something broke free. A memory not of war, but of a promise, his mother's voice. "Be kind, Ethan, even when they aren't." The words cut through the darkness like sunlight through clouds. He lifted his head. "I'm not here to destroy. I'm here to fix what's broken." The orbs froze midair. The voice fell silent. Then slowly the red light faded into soft white. "Truth accepted," the echo said quietly. "Shadow seen. Heart remains human." The light vanished. Ethan collapsed to the floor, gasping for air. Outside, Lyria's eyes glowed brighter as the doors opened. She stepped forward before the guards could move. Ethan stumbled out, pale and shaking, his shirt soaked in sweat. "What did they do to you?" she demanded. He gave a weak grin. "Mind-reading spa session. 10 out of 10. Would not recommend." She frowned but offered her hand. "You passed." "Barely," he said, taking her hand. Her touch was warm, steady, as grounding. "They showed me things. Your people, the war. I didn't even know humans were here before." Lyria nodded slowly. "The burning war happened long ago. Your kind came seeking energy. But they took more than they gave. Millions died. The council remembers." Ethan looked down. "Guess I picked the wrong planet to crash on." "You are not them," she said firmly. "For the echoes saw that." He looked up, surprised by the strength in her tone. "You believe me?" Her gaze softened. "I believe what I saw in your heart." For a moment, neither spoke. The jungle wind whispered through the crystalline streets outside, carrying a faint hum that sounded almost like music. Then Lyria turned sharply. "Come, you must rest. The council will summon us again soon." Ethan followed her through narrow passageways, glowing with pale light. Strange creatures floated above pools of liquid silver, and the air smelled faintly of ozone and flowers. Every corner of the city seemed alive. Finally, they reached a chamber overlooking the horizon. The room was simple. A bed carved from crystal and a wall that opened to the forest below. Stars blinked through the mist. "This will be your shelter," Lyria said quietly. Ethan sat down, sighing. Not bad for an intergalactic jail cell. She didn't smile, but her eyes softened. "You are safe here." He looked up at her. "You know, you never told me how you can talk in my head." Her golden eyes flickered with light. "It is not talking. It is feeling. My kind share thoughts when we wish, but yours, they are louder. You think in storms?" He laughed softly. "Sounds about right." She looked out the window. "You should sleep. Tomorrow the council will decide if you may stay or must return to the wastelands." Ethan frowned. "Wastelands?" "Beyond the crystal forest. There are things there even we fear. Shadows left from the war." "Sounds cozy," he muttered. For a long time she stood in silence. The light of the stars reflected on her skin, painting her in gold. Ethan studied her, the sharp grace in her posture, the quiet sadness in her eyes. "Lyria," he said softly, "back there. When I saw that woman in the vision, she looked like you." Lyria turned slightly. "She was my mother." Ethan froze. "Your mother?" "She died in the burning war," Lyria said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Killed by humans." The words hung heavy in the air. Ethan swallowed hard. "I'm sorry. I wish I could change what happened." She looked at him for a long moment, searching his face. "Perhaps you can," she said finally. "Perhaps this time history does not repeat." And then she turned and left the room, her silver hair flowing like moonlight behind her. Ethan sat there, staring out at the alien stars. His mind spun with questions, about her, about the war, about why fate had thrown him here. He clenched his fists. "I'm not like them," he whispered to himself. "I'll prove it." Far away, unseen by either of them, a shadow moved across the forest, dark, massive, alive, and deep beneath the city, ancient eyes opened once more. Ethan didn't sleep. He sat near the crystal window, watching the alien sky bleed from violet to silver as dawn touched the horizon. The stars here moved differently, twisting in patterns that felt alive. The city of Eltor glowed faintly beneath him, breathing with energy like a living creature. He couldn't stop thinking about Lyria. Her words echoed in his mind. Perhaps this time history does not repeat, but what if it already had? Something stirred deep below the city, a low rumble that made the glass walls tremble. It felt like the growl of something ancient. Ethan looked down and saw faint lights flicker in the distance, deep beneath the crystal surface. "What the hell?" he whispered. He stood, peering closer, when the door to his chamber slid open silently. Lyria entered, her expression tight. "You felt it too," she said, not as a question but as a fact. "Yeah," Ethan replied. "It sounded like an earthquake." "It was not the earth," she said quietly. "It was the core." "The core?" he repeated. "That doesn't sound comforting." Lyria stepped to the window, her eyes glowing faintly in the morning light. "Beneath this city lies the heart of Eltor, the source of our power. It was made during the Burning War. When the humans came, they tried to take it. The war woke it, and it has slept ever since." Ethan frowned. "You mean that thing could wake up again?" She nodded slowly. "If the core wakes, it will not stop. It was built to destroy and protect." "Destroy and protect?" Ethan asked. "Sounds like a terrible combination." Lyria's gaze stayed on the horizon. "The core has no heart. It judges all by memory. If it senses human presence again, it will see only enemies." Ethan's chest tightened. "So you think I triggered it?" Her silence was enough of an answer. "Great," he muttered. "I crashed one ship and now I'm starting Ancient Apocalypse 2. Before she could reply, a loud alarm filled the air, a deep, haunting sound that shook the city. Crystals flashed red along the walls. Outside, alien warriors rushed through the streets, their armor glowing with battle light. Lyria's eyes widened. "The core is stirring. We must go now." They ran through corridors that glowed like veins of light. The ground quaked beneath their feet. Ethan saw cracks form on the walls, leaking faint streams of blue energy. "What's happening down there?" he shouted. "The heart is waking," Lyria called back. "If it breaks containment, it will burn everything." "Great," Ethan yelled. "Can't we just unplug it?" She gave him a sharp look. "It is not a machine, human. It is alive." They burst into the central square, the same bridge Ethan had crossed the day before. Now the sky above was filled with floating shards of light, spinning wildly, as if pulled by a magnetic storm. The air itself vibrated. At the far end, the council members stood on their glowing platform, trying to control the chaos. The eldest raised his staff high, his voice booming across the city. The core remembers. The old war returns. The words sent a chill through Ethan's spine. Lyria turned to him. You must hide. If they see you now— No, Ethan said firmly. If I caused this, I'm helping fix it. She hesitated, then nodded once. Then follow me. They descended through a spiral passage that led beneath the city. The walls pulsed brighter the deeper they went, like veins pumping with energy. The sound grew louder, a deep rhythmic thrum like a heartbeat made of thunder. Finally, they reached a massive chamber. At its center stood the core. It was breathtaking, a sphere of pure light floating above a pit of molten crystal. Energy arcs pulsed from it like lightning, carving cracks into the stone around it. The ground trembled as the sphere's glow shifted from white to red. Ethan shielded his eyes. That thing's gonna blow. Lyria stepped closer, her hair whipping in the wind. No, it's remembering. Remembering what? The war. The humans who came before you. Ethan's heart raced. Then we need to convince it I'm not them. Lyria looked at him, surprised. You would face the core. He smirked weakly. I already faced your council. What's one more judgment day? Without waiting for an answer, he stepped forward. The light grew blinding. Every step felt heavier, like gravity itself was pulling him down. Voices whispered in his head, countless voices, human and alien alike, crying out from the past. Enemy. Destroyer. Forgive us. Ethan clenched his fists. Listen to me, he shouted. I don't know what the others did, but I'm not here to take anything. I just want peace. The core's light flickered violently. A wave of energy slammed into him, throwing him backward. Lyria screamed his name. He hit the ground hard but pushed himself up again, coughing. You hear me, right? I'm not your enemy. The core pulsed again, slower this time. Its red light dimmed slightly. Ethan took another step forward, holding out his hands. If you remember war, then remember mercy too. The chamber fell silent. For a long moment, nothing moved. Then slowly the core's glow shifted, red to white, white to soft blue. The trembling stopped. Lyria's eyes widened. You calmed it. Ethan breathed hard, his chest burning. Guess it liked my speech. She stepped forward, touching his shoulder. You did what no one could. You made it remember peace, he smiled weakly. See, humans aren't all bad. But before she could answer, the ground rumbled again. Not from the core, but from above. A guard rushed down the stairs, his face pale. Commander! The sky! Something is coming! Lyria turned sharply. What? The guard hesitated, voice shaking. A ship, human design. It bears the old war mark. Ethan's blood went cold. Another ship. From Earth. The sky was burning again. From the crystal balcony, Ethan could see the ship descending through the clouds, black, angular, massive. Its engines roared like thunder, shaking the towers of Aeltor. The symbol on its side made his stomach twist, the old Earth insignia. Lyria stood beside him, her golden eyes sharp. It bears your people's mark, she said quietly. Ethan's voice was low. That's not my crew. My ship wasn't military. He gripped the railing hard, jaw tight. But they're human, no doubt about it. Below them, the city blazed with motion. The alien guards were taking positions, crystal weapons glowing. The council's tower pulsed with red light, the signal of war readiness. They're preparing to fight, Ethan murmured. They remember the last time your kind came, Lyria said, and they will not wait to be attacked. Ethan turned to her. Then I have to stop this before it starts. You cannot reason with them, she warned. If they came with that mark, they came for power and for the core. Then I'll make them listen, he said firmly. Lyria stared at him, searching his face. You would stand against your own? Ethan's throat tightened. If it means stopping another war. Yes? They ran through the streets toward the upper platforms as the human ship descended lower. Its shadow stretched across the city like a storm cloud. A beam of light shot down, burning through the mist. From it, a group of armored soldiers emerged, carrying rifles that shimmered with plasma. Ethan froze when he saw their insignia. Atlas Division, he whispered. They were wiped out decades ago. The soldiers fanned out in perfect formation. At their center stood a tall man with steel-gray hair, his armor polished and marked with stars of rank. His voice boomed through a translator. "This is Commander Rayner of the United Earth Authority. Surrender your core. Failure to comply will be considered an act of war." Lyraya's expression hardened. "They speak the same words as before." Ethan stepped forward. "Commander Rayner! It's me, Ethan Cole. My ship went down weeks ago." The commander looked at him stunned for a moment. Then he smiled grimly. "Cole, you're alive. We picked up your signal." "That beacon's been dead for days," Ethan said. "How did you—" Rayner's eyes flicked to Lyraya. "I've been captured." Ethan shook his head. "No, they saved me." Rayner's expression turned cold. "You've been compromised. These things can control minds. Step away from it." Lyraya's eyes flashed gold. "It?" Ethan raised his hands. "No one's controlling me. Commander, listen. The core woke because of me, but we calmed it. There's no threat here." Rayner's tone was sharp. "You have no idea what you're saying. That core is a planet killer. The council back home wants it contained, if that, or destroyed. They don't even understand it." Ethan snapped. "You destroy that, you destroy everything alive on this planet." Rayner's jaw tightened. "Orders are orders." He lifted his hand. The soldiers aimed their weapons. Lyraya stepped in front of Ethan instantly, energy flaring around her. Her armorless body glowed with a white aura, ancient symbols forming in the air. The human soldiers hesitated as the ground shook. Ethan grabbed her arm. "Don't! They'll see it as an attack." "They are attacking," she said, her voice trembling with fury. "They would kill my people again." Rayner's voice cut through the air. "Last warning, Cole. Move aside." Ethan looked between the commander and Lyraya, between his past and the fragile hope of this alien world. His heart pounded. Every instinct screamed at him to protect both. "I can't let you do this," he yelled. Rayner's eyes narrowed. "Then you're a traitor." The first shot rang out. A beam of plasma hit the crystal bridge beside Ethan, shattering it into shards of light. Lyraya pushed him back just as another blast flew past. Her hands glowed, and she hurled a wave of energy that sent the soldiers flying. "Stop!" Ethan shouted. "Both of you!" But it was too late. The sky exploded in color, plasma and light, fire and crystal. The humans fired in waves. The aliens answered with energy bolts that shattered air itself. The once beautiful city turned into a storm of power. Ethan ran toward Rayner through the chaos. "Listen to me, damn it. The core isn't a weapon anymore. It's alive." Rayner's voice came through the smoke. "Then we'll put it out of its misery." He raised a detonator. "No!" Ethan shouted. He charged forward, tackling the commander to the ground. The device clattered away, rolling toward the edge of the platform. Lyraya dove and caught it, the glow of its screen reflecting in her golden eyes. "What is it?" she asked. Ethan's voice broke. "It's a core disruptor. If it activates, the entire city dies." Rayner slammed his fist into Ethan's face, sending him sprawling. "You don't understand, Cole. That thing under us can't be reasoned with. You think it listens. It only waits." Ethan wiped blood from his mouth. "Then you haven't seen what I've seen." He lunged again, struggling against the commander. The two crashed into the railing as lightning cracked across the sky. The core pulsed beneath them, sensing the conflict above. Lyraya looked at the device in her hands, its timer counting down from 60. Her heart pounded. "Ethan, what do I do?" He turned his head, eyes wide. "Whatever you do, don't destroy it." "But if it goes off, just trust me," he shouted. The timer hit 30. The core roared beneath the city, its light splitting the clouds. The crystal towers began to tremble. Rayner's grip tightened around Ethan's throat. "You're choosing them over your own race." Ethan's voice was hoarse. "I'm choosing life." He slammed the commander's wrist into the railing, breaking the detonator's link. Sparks flew. The device in Lyraya's hands stopped beeping. The silence after was deafening, broken only by the low, thunderous hum of the core awakening again. Lyraya met Ethan's eyes. "You stopped him, but the core still feels the battle." Ethan looked up. The sky was opening, a swirling vortex of blue and white light forming above the ship. Rayner staggered to his feet. His face was pale. "God help us. It's waking fully this time," Ethan whispered. "Then we stop it. Together." The sky tore open like a wound. From above, light poured down, pure, endless, and blinding. The core had awakened completely. Its power rose from deep below Aeltor, shaking the earth and splitting the crystal towers into shards of burning glass. Ethan could feel it, not in his skin, but in his soul. The core was alive, and it was angry. Lyraya stood beside him, hair whipping wildly in the storm. Her golden eyes glowed brighter than the lightning tearing across the horizon. "The heart is remembering," she shouted over the roar. "It feels human energy, it feels them." Ethan looked toward the sky. The human warship was struggling to stay stable, its engines flaring under the storm. The soldiers below tried to retreat, but the ground cracked open, swallowing them in waves of light. He turned to Lyraya. "We have to stop it before it kills everyone." She nodded, gripping the glowing core disruptor device, the one she had snatched before it detonated. "How? You said it remembers emotions, right?" Ethan yelled. "Then we show it something worth remembering." Her brows furrowed. "What do you mean?" Ethan stepped closer, his voice steady despite the chaos. "It remembers fear, war, pain, and all the worst of us. But maybe it can remember hope too." Lyraya stared at him, torn between fear and awe. "You think the core can feel hope?" "I think everything alive can," Ethan said. "Even something built from fire." They raced toward the lower chamber, the heart of the core itself. The walls glowed brighter with each step, symbols burning into the crystal floor beneath their feet. The hum grew louder, almost deafening. The air was thick with energy. Every breath felt electric. At the center of the chamber, the core floated, a colossal sphere of light, pulsing in waves that shook the air. Around it, shattered fragments of stone floated like asteroids, orbiting slowly. Ethan squinted against the brightness. "It's feeding off fear. It's sensing the humans above." "Then we must make it see something else," Lyraya said, stepping closer. "Something pure." She lifted her hands. Her body glowed, and tendrils of white energy flowed from her palms toward the core. Her voice rang out, not words, but music. A strange, haunting melody filled the chamber, echoing like a prayer. The core flickered, its red light dimming slightly. Ethan felt warmth spread through the room. He stepped beside her, placing his hand over hers. The light pulsed stronger, reacting to their connection. He whispered, "Let's show it what peace looks like." Their energies merged, human and alien, bright and calm. The core slowed its violent pulses, shifting colors from red to soft blue. In that moment, Ethan saw images not from his eyes but from the core's memory. He saw the burning war, humans and aliens fighting under blood-red skies. Then he saw something new, himself and Lyraya standing together, refusing to fight. The core hesitated. Its voice echoed inside their minds, soft but immense. "Why, unity. Why now?" Ethan took a breath. "Because we learned. Because we can change. Because life isn't about who owns the stars. It's about sharing their light." The core pulsed once more, slower, gentler. Then its light spread outward, washing across the city. The shattered towers began to heal, the broken crystal mending itself. The soldiers, human and alien alike, froze as the same warmth passed through them. The warship above stopped firing, caught in the glow. Lyraya opened her eyes, tears forming. "It's listening." But then the device in her hand beeped, a low rising tone. The disruptor had reactivated. Ethan's eyes widened. "It's going to blow." Lyraya looked at him, calm even in panic. "If I absorb its power, I can stop it, but I will not survive." "No," Ethan said immediately, grabbing her wrist. "We'll find another way." "There is no time," she said softly. "You showed my people mercy. Let me show yours hope." Ethan's heart twisted. "Lyraya," she smiled. That same small, teasing smile she'd given him when they first met. "Don't flirt this time, human," she whispered. "Just remember me." Before he could speak, she stepped forward into the light. The core responded instantly, swirling around her. Her body began to dissolve into threads of silver and gold, merging with the energy. The device stopped beeping. The trembling ceased. The core shone brighter than ever before, not red, not white, but soft golden light. It spread across the entire horizon, washing over the ruins, the soldiers, the ship, everything. When it faded, silence fell. The ship was gone. The soldiers disappeared. The city stood whole once more, calm, alive, beautiful. And Lyraya was gone. Ethan dropped to his knees, staring at the empty air where she had stood. The core floated quietly above him, glowing faintly blue. peaceful now. Its voice, faint and kind, whispered inside his head, "She is not gone. She is memory. She is light." Ethan's eyes burned. "You remember her?" "Always." He stood slowly, wiping his face. "Then remember what she stood for." "Peace," the core said softly. "And love." Outside, the first dawn broke. The city shimmered like it had been reborn. The wind carried faint whispers, Lyraya's song echoing through the air. Ethan looked up at the sky and whispered, "I'll make sure they never forget." He turned, walking toward the edge of the crystal bridge, a lone human in an alien city, the last witness of two worlds learning to share one heart. Above him, the core pulsed once more, glowing with golden light, a heartbeat of peace that would echo through the galaxy.